The Go Wild Area event starts soon around the world in Pokemon Go, but many of you still had questions about this event, so I wanted to put together a quick last-minute video going over your questions and answer anything that you might be confused on. Now I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible, but I also wanted to avoid going over repeat questions, so I spent some time going through and organizing these, so if you guys want to actually check anything specifically, there's going to be timestamps down below. But with that being said, we have a lot to get through, so let's jump straight into it. I got a 98% IV Palkia and a 98% IV Dialga with no adventure effects. Would you still use them for PvP? Without a doubt, this is probably one of the most common questions I've been getting on the channel recently. And to answer it, no, I would not power these up. I mean, you really do need to have their exclusive movesets, Roar of Time and Spacial Rend, in order for them to actually be relevant in PvP. Now, of course, a valid follow-up question to that is, can we actually Elite TM these moves in the future? Or do you think we're ever going to be able to? Honestly, it's really difficult to say. Because these are adventure effect moves, they're not typical like legacy movesets like most other Pokemon have, which is why we can't actually Elite TM them currently. Now, could we get an item in game where we actually can Elite TM adventure effect moves? That is always a possibility, but I don't think we're going to get anything like that anytime soon. Now, specifically when it comes down to PvP, that is only one aspect of this problem in my opinion. The other aspect of this whole Dialga and Palkia origin form issue with their special adventure effect movesets is how rare they actually were. So on average, it seemed like the raids were about 1 out of 10, but some players honestly had said they had gone even like 20-30 raids before getting the special adventure effect move. I mean, that is ridiculous, man. You cannot tell me that is okay in any sort of way. I mean, if it was like 1 out of 5, I could understand that. That seems kind of reasonable, but like 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30 even for some players, dude, that is ridiculous. Honestly, Niantic really dropped the ball in this one, and it seems like a lot of players are really burning themselves out, focusing on Dialga and Palkia origin forms, and for those that even got the hundos, I feel really bad for you, because you definitely deserve to have that adventure effect moveset on there. But hopefully in the future you guys will be able to Elite TM to get these exclusive movesets, or maybe even use like a Super Elite TM if we ever get those. So we kind of have an idea in terms of how rare the adventure effect movesets were on Dialga and Palkia. But what about the shiny rate? What is that going to be? So the shiny rate is pretty much the normal shiny rate for any shiny legendary Pokemon. That's going to be 1 out of 20 on average. So basically for anybody out there who got the exclusive adventure effect moveset plus the shiny, that's incredible. Now we do have some follow-up questions in regards to these Pokemon. Can you actually get the special moves from remote raids? Yes, there's no exclusion, and when it comes down to remote raids, it's pretty much the same exact thing. And then can you also get Dialga and Palkia with the special moves from Go Battle League? Because technically they are the featured legendary Pokemon right now, just during the normal rotation, not just specifically for this weekend. And so yes, you can actually get them with their exclusive adventure effect movesets if you are above rank 20, although I think it's like a 1% chance to actually get a legendary as the encounter. So for those of you out there who have already made it to rank 20 this season in GBL, I mean, maybe run a few sets just to see if you can actually get an extra Dialga or an extra Palkia. They might even have the adventure effect if you're lucky. How many Primal raids will I need to do so I can get both Primals? So normally the energy rate is about 80 per raid, and you need to have 400 energy to actually Mega Evolve them for the first time. So that means you would need to do about 5 to 6 raids on average in order to actually get the full amount. After that, you can just make them your buddy and walk with them to earn more energy that way. So in total 10, but about 5 each. I'm only going to be able to play the event remotely. Now in order to actually save remote raid passes, what are the ideal players needed to get the max primal energy for both primal raids? So in terms of how many players you ideally want to have, I mean, if you go through Pokegenie, you get about 6 players in total, including yourself. And given the recent beta testing feature where you can actually join people's raids from your friends list right now, it's probably going to be a lot easier to actually get these done, but at minimum, I would say 5 to 6 players. If you don't have at least that many players in your raid lobby, I would definitely hop out. Now, typically the best etiquette for hopping out of raid lobbies is going to be before the 20-second mark. Will you be able to receive primal energy from doing these raids remotely? And the answer to that is yes. In the past, this wasn't always the case, but for this event, that is going to be possible. If you don't use the extra raid passes between 10 to 6 on Saturday, can you use them afterwards? Like, can I use the 5 raid passes between 7 to 8? Unfortunately, the answer to this is going to be no. You have to use those free daily passes during the event window times, otherwise you will lose them. Now, just to clarify a bit further, you're going to get 4 additional free raid passes if you actually bought the ticket each day, so that's going to be a total of 5 raid passes you guys have to use on both days. Can Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon Mega Evolve too? The answer to this is going to be yes. Basically, Dynamax Pokemon and Gigantamax Pokemon can be used in all other aspects of the game, but not the other way around. For Gigantamax Toxtricity, I've heard some people say aside from Excadrill, Dynamax Metagross, and Venusaur are good substitutes. Can you comment on this, and how effective might they be? So when it comes down to Venusaur, I mean, yes, it does have resistances, so like you maybe could use it as like a tanky Pokemon, but in terms of overall damage potential, there really isn't that much going for it because again, it is going to be a poison and electric type Pokemon. Grass type moves don't have super effective on either of those, so it's not really that good. Now Metagross on the other hand has access to a double Psychic type moveset, so you can definitely use this as both a tank Pokemon as well as an attacker, and this will definitely be a great addition on top of your Excadrill. I did just recently put out a video on my new Clips channel which goes over the best Pokemon to actually use against Gigantamax Toxtricity, so if you guys haven't actually checked out that channel yet, I would really appreciate it if you did and also subscribed. I'm basically just going to be posting shorter form content on there. It's going to be the same type of content that I would normally post on here, except the YouTube algorithm won't penalize me for actually posting shorter form content on this channel. I just figured that was the best alternative, so yeah. We covered a lot of topics on there this week, like the Toxel hatch rates, how rare the special moves are on Dialga and Palkia origin forms. Basically, my plan for that channel is just to cover a bunch of news-based topics, some things that you guys may want to know about as soon as possible. So once again, if you guys can subscribe to that channel, I would really appreciate it. How often are the max battles going to reset? Will it be like Gigantamax Gengar resetting every single hour? So I would have to imagine yes, possibly even more often than that, like maybe every 30 minutes. Typically during like Go Fest or Go Tour events, and I guess now for the Go Wild Area event, it's pretty much the same structure. Like we're gonna have consistent raid battles featured throughout the day. Given that the MP limit was raised for ticket holders and also non-ticket holders during this event, I would have to imagine they're gonna reset pretty frequently. Is there a way you can only raid Gigantamax Toxtricity amped to the yellow form? Or is it just random because I only like the yellow form and I want to get a good one? Also, when you evolve Toxel, is it just going to give you a random form too? Because again, I only wanted the amped form, and the first 10k I hatched was a shiny Toxel with 13, 15, 13 IVs, so I would like that. Well, first of all, congrats on the shiny Toxel. That's honestly incredible to see that somebody hatched one. And second, to answer your question, yes, when you actually raid Gigantamax Toxtricity, it is going to award you with a random one each time. And the same thing can be said if you actually evolve Toxel into Toxtricity, it's going to be a random form that it gets. So basically, when it comes down to it, you either have to do this one of two ways. You have to chance it, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend, or you could also just do the regular Dynamax Toxtricity raid battles because you're going to have between the amped and the low-key forms individually. That might be the best way to actually get a shiny if you specifically want that. But if you just want to have the shiny for Gigantamax, honestly it doesn't really matter that much because the Gigantamax form is going to be the same no matter which form you have. Do mighty Pokemon only spawn during certain hours or throughout the entire event? So basically mighty Pokemon are just like regular wild spawns, except they're a lot more difficult to encounter for obvious reasons. But in terms of them actually being available during certain event hours, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think you can find anyone that's going to be available on Saturday on that respective day. Although I will say between 6 to 6:15 p.m. based on the Japan event, mighty Pokemon were spawning a lot more frequently during this time, and I think the main reason for this is because people probably had an excess amount of Go Safari Balls by the end of the event day, and so that's the best way to actually use them up. Is it confirmed that shiny mighty Pokemon cannot run away? Yes, I believe it was. Now I can't say this with like 100% certainty, but I'm gonna say 99% positive. Based on the people that actually encountered these in Japan, nobody encountered that they actually had one run away on them. Now even assuming that shiny mighty Pokemon cannot run away, there are actually going to be two exceptions where if this actually happens to you, this is probably the reason why it ran away. The first one is that if your Go Plus already picked it up, that is going to be why it runs away. The Go Plus is just going to be an automatic yes or no catch. The second way is that if you actually hit the speed limit, if you're driving too fast, or maybe you're in a car with somebody else and they're driving really fast, basically if you end up getting speed capped, this is going to actually take priority over the shiny Pokemon not being able to run away. Now with that being said, considering that shiny mighty Pokemon cannot run away, it would also be a good idea to use your Ultra Balls if you want to actually save your Safari Balls for other Pokemon later on during the event, because you can't actually transfer Pokemon that were caught in the Go Safari Balls to Pokemon Home. Now for some players out there, this might be a really big deal to them. For other players who just mainly play Go, this isn't going to affect you that much. But if you want to actually transfer these shiny Pokemon over to the main series games, you cannot catch them in the Go Safari Balls. So when it comes down to these mighty Pokemon, it would definitely be a good idea to catch them in regular Ultra Balls. When you trade mighty Pokemon, is that considered a special trade? So honestly, I have no idea. I would have to imagine it wouldn't be a special trade unless it's going to be a shiny, but I really have no idea. I tried to research this as much as I could from people who play the Japan event, and I found nothing. So I'm assuming because I found nothing, it's just going to be a regular trade, but if somebody else can clarify that in the comment section down below, I would really appreciate it. Will Snorlax be a wild mighty spawn as well like it was in Japan? So unfortunately, no. The Snorlax is not going to be a wild mighty spawn. Same thing with Garchomp that was also featured in Japan. Those were exclusive to that event only. They're not going to be featured during this event, but you can actually catch Snorlax with the Rockstar jacket from the 3-star raid battles. Now we actually have two questions that are pretty similar to each other. I'm going to read off both of them. Can lower levels catch level 50 Pokemon, like let's say level 31 trainer? And then the second question is, I'm level 39. Does that mean that my mighty Pokemon are going to be capped at level 39? So to basically answer this, in terms of mighty Pokemon, I don't think they're going to function like normal, but I also can't say for sure. Typically when it comes down to powering up Pokemon, I believe you can actually power them up 10 levels past your current level. So I would have to imagine that wild Pokemon are probably going to function the same, but I couldn't find anything really specifying this about mighty Pokemon. From what we know about them so far, mighty Pokemon are going to be between level 40 to 45, and then if they're weather boosted, they're going to be between level 45 to 50. So based on speculation and what I've seen so far, I didn't actually see anybody catch a mighty Pokemon that was a lower level Pokemon, so I would have to imagine you can at least catch them at level 40 or above, regardless of your level. I'm confused about the free Safari Balls. Do you only get one research, and is it going to last both days? So there was some clarification that just got posted about this like a few hours ago. So when it comes into the free Safari Balls, you're only going to be able to get a total of 2 each day, which means on both days you can get 2. And that's it, but you can also get them from spinning Pokestops as well. Now for those of you that actually paid for the event ticket, you're actually going to get a timed research every single hour that's going to give you 20 Go Safari Balls. So that was a lot more than I honestly anticipated. We were thinking it was going to be 4 every single hour, but it's actually going to be 20. So that's insane, and I think that's going to be more than enough for the entire day. But when it comes down to the players who didn't buy the event ticket, I mean, you only get 2, so I mean, use them really carefully. I think this is a really dumb thing to do. I think Niantic should have at least given players like 10 for the entire day. 2 just seems like a slap in the face. Basically, if you didn't buy the event ticket though, I would just try to spin as many Pokestops throughout the day to try to get more. Otherwise, I mean, you're not going to have that many to actually use on these mighty Pokemon. There's also going to be a separate ticket for the Go Safari Balls, right? So if I have the event ticket plus the Go Safari Ball ticket, then will I get 4 plus 4 for 64 every single day? So basically from what I saw, you're going to get 24 if you actually do this. You're going to get the 20 from the event ticket plus the 4 from the add-on ticket. If you actually bought both of those tickets, you're going to get 192 Go Safari Balls. That's insane, man. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna need that many throughout the day, but you never know. I mean, it's an increased catch rate when you actually use them, which might be nice for like higher level Pokemon. 192 is a lot though. Like, that is significantly more than I ever anticipated. Will you be able to keep your unused Safari Balls after the event is over? So no, unfortunately you will not be able to, not even after the day is over. So after day 1, they're all gonna disappear. After day 2, they're all gonna disappear once again. These Go Safari Balls are only meant to be used during the event. I mean, again, they have like a super good catch rate. They're better than Ultra Balls by like a mile. So if people actually kept these after the event, that would be quite OP. I'm kind of new to the game, so I'm not really sure how the extra special trades are going to work. Are they going to be available from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or during the entire day? So great question. These extra special trades, if you decide to purchase a ticket, are going to be available the entire day. So don't worry about getting these trades done during the event. You're going to have plenty of time to do these after. Which spawn should I prioritize catching for PvE and PvP? So I actually went over all this stuff in detail in my tips and tricks video, which I'm going to leave linked on screen right now. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's like at the start of the video too, and there's timestamps down below, so I cover everything that's actually worth focusing on during this event for both categories in that video. Is there a trick to encountering a better chance with spawning the Galarian birds? So I do actually have a video that goes over this more in detail, but I'll give you the gist of it. Basically, you want to be walking as much as possible. I mean, you should be able to get about a new spawn every 30 seconds if you have the daily adventure intense running. Assuming that you are walking at a decent pace, that is going to increase your chances the most. If it is windy weather, it should also increase your chances a little bit in terms of actually finding one. I think if you actually also walk on a new route that you haven't walked before, it is going to increase the amount of spawns you get from the daily adventure incense. I did test this one time, but it only worked the first time that I actually did it. Even if you don't end up completing the route, I don't think it's going to work a second time, but that's the only thing that I know of. Otherwise, you just have to walk as much as possible, like just move as much as possible to increase your chances of just getting more spawns, and eventually you should encounter a Galarian bird. To be completely honest with you, I haven't had the best luck with these. Like within like the last 2 months, I've gone on many walks for like at least 30 to 45 minutes with Roar of Time and everything, and I've only encountered one Galarian Moltres, and of course it ran away. So during this event, I've pretty much dumped all my extra rare candy into Dialga with Roar of Time. I'm going to try to run this, and hopefully I can actually encounter a few Galarian birds, possibly even catch my first one with a, Go Safari Ball. That'd be pretty awesome. But in terms of actually encountering more, I've heard that they actually spawn in like the same spots typically, so if you do encounter one, try to walk around that same area multiple times throughout the day. That might honestly help your chances, but that's more of a theory rather than like a confirmed method. So for GoFest this year, they did not announce that certain legacy movesets would be attainable, such as Hydro Cannon on Swampert. Will you save us all with a mid-event post about whether or not there are going to be additional legacy moves available? I have a really small community and most of us cannot afford to trial and error it. So yes, if there is actually some random legacy moveset Pokemon that becomes available during this event, I will let you guys know in possibly like a community post or something like that. But as far as the legacy movesets that are going to be available during this event, it's just going to be Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, Pidgeot with Gust, Poliwrath with Counter, Gyarados with Aqua Tail, Feraligatr with Hydro Cannon, and then finally Luxray with Psychic Fangs. I really don't think we're going to get anything else outside of that. I tried evolving my Pidgey into Pidgeot, but I didn't get the exclusive moveset, so you have to evolve these during the event hours. If you don't do it during the event hours, you're not going to get it with the exclusive moves. If you find and evolve a Luxray that has Hidden Power Ground, it's going to be really good to use in the Electric Cup, particularly Shadow Luxray. There's no way to know if your Shanks is going to have a ground type hidden power before evolving, so I'm just going to evolve them all. Honestly, this is a really good piece of advice that I think for any PvP player watching this right now, you should definitely take advantage of. So basically the way Hidden Power works is that you can only get one specific typing on a Pokemon that has access to it. So let's say for example you evolve your Shanks into Luxray and it gets Hidden Power Grass. You cannot keep TMing it again to get a different Hidden Power typing, it's just going to be Hidden Power Grass every single time. So, I mean, this is pretty crazy for those of you guys out there who are going to be able to get Hidden Power Ground. That's going to be some commitment. Honestly, I might just try for this just given the rarity and just how good it is in the Electric Cup. Does picking the Electric or Poison type path completely lock you out of getting the other Pikachu costume type? Can you get more than one costume Pikachu, and if so, how? So yes, you can actually get Pikachu or Rockstar Pikachu or Popstar Pikachu from the snapshots for one. You can also get them from the collection challenges, and I have a theory, this isn't confirmed, that you can possibly also get them from the party play encounters, which we actually had Costume Pikachu, the Sun and Moon Crown featured during Go Fest. It would make sense that Popstar and Rockstar Pikachu are going to be featured from party play as well, but again, totally just a theory right now. We'll know for sure in like a few hours, but that'd be pretty cool if you could. So basically, yeah, when it comes down to it, you should be able to get multiple of both costumes. If I can afford to be running my start pieces, incense, and lucky eggs for the entire 2 days, should I do that? Or is it better suited to save those items for specific calm days with specific Stardust/XP bonuses? Would you also recommend Spacial Rend or Roar of Time more for use on those 2 days? Okay, so that's a loaded question. I did talk about all this stuff in my tips and tricks video and my full breakdown video and all that stuff, but I'll give you the rundown here. So when it comes down to star pieces and lucky eggs, yes, I would honestly just save those for a different event unless you were going to be hatching like 9 times 10 kilometer eggs, and definitely drop a star piece before you hatch those. When it comes down to lucky eggs, honestly, I can't see a good enough reason to use them during this event. I think it would just be better to save them for calm days. For Spacial Rend and Roar of Time, honestly, I'm going to be using Roar of Time as much as possible. I already dumped a bunch of rare candy into Dialga, and I think this is probably one of the better chances to actually get a Galarian bird and possibly even a shiny Galarian bird, thanks to actually having access to the Go Safari Balls. Now with that being said, if you are going to be using Roar of Time, I would actually recommend using the Star Piece and the Lucky Egg, not because like the bonuses are going to be super good, but mainly just due to Roar of Time's special effect, given that it actually pauses the time on Incense, Star Pieces, and Lucky Eggs. Anyways, with that being said, that pretty much covers all the questions I had to go over. Hopefully you guys did get your questions answered. If you didn't, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll try my best to actually respond to them after day 1. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to be focused on just having fun this weekend and playing as much as possible. I need to get some sleep because I've been making content this entire week and also last week, so I'm honestly really tired, and I need to take my own advice and get some sleep before the first big day. So yeah, best of luck out there. Hope you guys get a bunch of shinies, some really awesome mighty Pokemon, and before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.